Adventure and Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio. Once again on Positively Pipeman segment with our resident expert in pet health and human health, for that matter, because you know what? They're pretty similar. And so let's welcome to the show the pet health guru. How are you, Bill?
I'm doing fantastic at right now. I mean, we've had our challenges with technology recently. I've been going through all kinds of crazy stuff. You know what the technology companies are like. You want fast internet? You want to change your cell phone? Take a week's vacation before you start.
Right. Well, that's why when I'm right now, not in town, but when I get back, I'll come down to you and we'll try to fix things out. I don't even think you should have your mobile and your internet through the same company. I'm a big believer in that because if one goes down, then they all go down.
Yeah.
I
I used to have it set up that way, but they try to get you because of the cost. We can give you better discounts, better rates, all that sort of stuff. It's just a game they play.
Well, you know the old saying, you pay for what you get what you pay for.
That's right.
So sometimes those deals are good, sometimes not so much.
That's right.
Hey, I like how on my logo here, I'm sitting right on top of my name. I didn't even do that on purpose. I just noticed that. Like me in the logo saying it couldn't have worked out more perfectly. I've never noticed that before till now. But I'm very excited about what you have to talk about today because people don't even know what to do. There's so many different things. There's like all these buzzwords recently. So like there's holistic, there's integrative, and then there's conventional. And I don't even understand the idea of conventional anyway, because what does that mean? Old? I don't know. Why don't you tell us?
Well, it's interesting because our modern medical system, as we know it, came about in the end of the 1800s, early 1900s, when John D. Rockefeller decided that he wanted to sell chemicals for treating diseases, treating ailments, and all of that, and that only with that kind of money when he actually extended it by bringing in Carnegie as well. They started buying up the medical schools, threw out all the traditional practices that were being done, and it only taught a one function approach to what we now call medicine. And it's really what it is. It's just about medicine. It has nothing to do with health at all. It has everything to do with making money.
That's
And
terrible.
it really is, and that's what the way the system is. So, and of course, the way they have expanded it is with indoctrinating, so-called doctors, which they've put on a platform. They're the smartest people in the world. You have to have all these letters after your name and all of that in order to be able to educate anybody, but it's just a one approach. Okay, their tools that they have in their toolboxes are poisons, of course, surgery, mutilate, and now, of course, burn with radiation. And that's if it can't be done with that, okay, there's nothing we can do for you.
I have a question for you since you brought up the radiation. How come we all get warned about, and since the day they came out, about using microwaves because of radiation? We get warned about cell phones because of radiation, but it's okay to use it as a technology directly on your body.
Yeah. It's interesting because the amounts of radiation, first off, of course, you take a CAT scan, an X-ray, CT scan, all of those, you're bombarding the body with radiation.
Yeah.
Your microwave is bombarding your food with radiation, which isn't much better, but still, there is you know, a much bigger influence on the body when you bombard it that way. And then, of course, they're using the radiation as a treatment on top of it, trying to, zap cancer cells that aren't cancer cells, by the way, they're real cells, but that just have turned cancerous because of eating toxin. But
Yeah.
that's the whole thing. It's one way, you know. Um, One of the things that's been showing up lately on my radar from anybody that's involved in any kind of medicine, uh, all they want to do is remove body parts these days. You don't need your gallbladder. You don't need your appendix. You don't need your penis. You don't need your,
It's
you
funny
know?
you should say that because the gallbladder nowadays is the popular one. It's like I know so many people that have been suggesting, including my daughter, to just take it out. I
Yeah,
think it's in your body for a reason. When they say that you don't need it, that means they don't know enough to know why you do need it. That's my opinion, at least.
yeah. I had a client come in a couple months back, and she says they want to schedule me for gallbladder removal. I said, "What? Why? Do you have? I mean, is it cancer or is it just not functioning?" Oh, it's functioning, but it's only functioning at 30%. So they say the body would be better off without it.
Hmm. So
If it-
zero is better than 30%, is what they're
yeah,
telling.
exactly.
Like, just use some common sense, people, like I just did. I just brought that up. And, you know, it's funny you mentioned cancer and radiation because I have a girl that I used to date that I'm good friends with for many years. And when she was young, she had throat cancer and they used radiation.
Yeah,
Well, now, is she still here on this earth? Yes, but her throat's so messed up from the radiation, and like it's hard to even talk to her sometimes because I have to really pay attention to make out what she's saying.
sure.
You know,
That's exactly one of the big issues is the body was designed perfect. And if there's anomalies in it, okay, we have to go back and look at what the root causes are. And, in many cases, of course, today, um, mom and grandma might have been on all kinds of different medications, on illegal drugs, maybe heavy drinking, bad food, all of that. And so that baby, that infant, is getting all those bad stuff in the blood as it's developing. And now they're
hmm
starting out sick.
yeah, just like heroin addicts when they get pregnant, the baby is born a heroin addict.
Yes.
It's the same thing. And I've been thinking about a lot lately is so cavemen and that time, nobody worried about air conditioning. Nobody worried about microwave. Nobody worried about medicines, at least not the ones from doctors. They worried about the medicines that they got in nature. Nobody worried about, making foods a certain way or, you know, eh, there's so many things I could mention, you know, or Armani clothes or whatever it is. Like, had they survive without all of this science?
I mean, there's ancient, communities today still that are being discovered in remote parts of the world, and some of the other ones that just have not adapted any of the modern stuff, where it's not unusual for the residents to be in their 90s, 100, 110, 120, and without any modern medicine, without any modern technologies, and
Huh.
without you know um, any formal education.
So, my question to you is all these people that say, well, life expectancy is longer now because of modern medicine. What do you have to say to that, in your opinion?
BS. Plain and simple. Because first off, you can skew the statistics any way you want them to. And I actually saw that in the veterinary field, whereas they claim that when we're talking about species appropriate diets and natural living and all of that, that our dogs today live longer than wolves do.
Wow.
Well, the way they skewed it though is um, so okay, a wolf bitch has whelps in nature has 8 puppies, and unfortunately, because of the forces of nature, if you will, 4 puppies got eaten by something else.
Hmm.
So that just cut their longevity in a study by 50%
Yeah.
because they're averaging in those that are natural kills and all of that. Whereas, on the human side today, too, um, has a life expectancy increased since, let's say, the 1940s, 1930s? A small percentage. And that's not because we're doing better, but because technology allows you that, if you have a heart attack, you don't necessarily have to die anymore.
Right.
We can give a kickstart of the heart and get you going in the right direction, with medications and things of that nature. However, they still didn't look at why did you have that heart attack in the first place?
Right.
They're not interested
Exactly.
in the real causes. They try to make stuff up, but it doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's also, again, like you said, all about the money. All about the money. Like, so my thing is, why do we have to make money off of health? There's plenty of things to make money off of. But
Yeah.
here's the thing, we got these buzzwords: holistic, integrative, conventional. What's the difference between the three?
Okay. And that's a very interesting topic because I run into it every day. Oh, I'm going to see a holistic doctor. Really? I'm a veterinarian holistic. I just got a call business before we did the show. I got 3 different holistic vets that I work with, but I heard something alarming in your store that says stay away from veterinarians whenever you can. They have to be an important part of the treatment. No, they don't. Okay. So when you look at it, what does holistic mean? It means looking at the body as a whole unit, one system. Any system breaks, you know, you have to find out why. Whereas in regular medicine, we're just putting a band aid, treating the symptom of what went on. So if you're going into your veterinarian, and of course they still want to do injections on you, they want all kinds of preventive, for your pets, for fleas, heartworms, all that sort of thing. That's not holistic. You're poisoning the body, you're changing the body to, I don't know, make supposedly to make it better, but it's no way possible it can make it better. It has to make it worse. The bodies are regenerative; they're always regrowing. It's funny because as you know, I just recently moved. I've had
Yeah.
to reintroduce myself back into doing some, I won't say gardening, but household maintenance or yard maintenance. And I went out there with my clippers and my saw, and I chopped the crap out of these bushes and everything else. And the funny thing is, in 6 weeks' time, it's all regenerated by itself.
Yeah.
They're still going to be alive. Our body's the same way. We
Interesting.
replace bad cells with new cells. But so when we look at the term holistic, it's thrown around very, very loosely. And then because most of those are not doctors that are looking at a total holistic approach, there's basically people that have taken alternative therapy instruction, like acupuncture or y- you know maybe nutritional studies or any number of different alternative homeopathy ways of treating the same symptoms, not the disease, not the challenge. It's just a different approach to it. And um, so realistically, they're not. it's not a holistic approach because we haven't found the root cause. And then on the other side of that, now, of course, we've got integrative, where we're going to bring the best of both worlds together. That holistic thing, along with the modern science of modern medicine. Well, when you really look at that, most of that stuff is in total conflict of each other.
Yeah.
So how can you integrate it together? Basically, that's nothing more than hocus pocus. Make it sound like it's all marketing. Um, you know, I can give you nutritional program with whole foods and real products, or I can give you Ozempic with 14 supplements and that are labeled natural supplements and claim that okay, we do both ends of the spectrum.
I'm
And you're
glad you brought that part up because I'll tell you what, everybody that I've seen on this Ozempic looks like an alien after a while. Okay, number one. Number two, this thing of putting stuff in your body that is naturally made in your body makes no sense to me. Okay, it's
no,
like if it's naturally made, you can't possibly be reproducing that exactly same scientific balance that would already be in your body. I can't imagine that's true.
yeah, because the body doesn't recognize the foreign chemicals, the foreign processes that are used to use it. On the other side of that, of course, we hear a lot about peptide therapies now, and a lot about stem cells. Extracting them and spinning them and processing them and putting them back in your body. And oh my God, I felt so much better. The problem with that is that you know when you do that, obviously there's processes involved. But like on stem cells, okay, they're extracting old stem cells that have limited life. Most of these treatments only last a month, some as little as 2 or 3 hours. I had a client in on Saturday. Oh, my naturopathic doctor wants me to get an IV of glutathione and as an antioxidant. And it's like, okay, so you got 3 hours of relief. Now what are you going to do?
Hmm.
Because your body, because once you supplemented that, the body quit making it. You know, um, that's a classic example of insulin. You know, on type 2, is you can actually be treated and it can actually be cured in very relatively short period of time through diet, but also because they don't understand it, it's actually a liver problem and not a insulin problem. The body's making plenty of insulin, it just can't use it because the liver's not producing the right hormones and enzymes to activate it.
Now, what do you think about? I was reading lately on this subject, but it pertains to a lot of subjects that,
Right.
you know, doing these liver detoxes. Well, the liver detoxifies itself. And so, what I had seen is somebody said that it's a waste. Like to go buy a liver detox, do a liver detox, because your liver already does that. What's your viewpoint on that?
It can only do it if it's healthy. And the
That's true.
problem with is it's actually all disease has two causes: toxicity and deficiency.
Yeah.
Okay, we're starving ourselves with the wrong foods, and then we're putting poison on it on top of it. So we're making a nice cocktail. But as the liver does a lot of different functions. I mean, it's a workhorse for our body. Well, number one, when we get around toxins, our body makes mucus and to wall off those poisons. Well, as it's going through the gut, going through the liver, the kidney, the bladder, um, what happens is that mucus will stick sometimes to the walls and it will calcify, causing stones.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually the cause of the stones. It's that mucus, the poison. But
Yeah.
okay, but that's reducing down the function of the liver. Liver's making all these biochemicals out here and is also doing filtration. So if it's partially plugged up with toxins and all this mucus and everything else, how else are you going to open that filter except to clean it? Think about your air conditioner in your house or your car.
Yeah,
If you don't change the filters, it's dead.
exactly.
And it's the same thing with that. The liver needs to be cleaned one way or another every single moment of every single day. And it's a part of the function. And yes, it is designed to do that naturally, but we have to sometimes help it. And we can use different herbals and botanicals to do that. Medical community wants to use chemicals, which does not detoxify. Basically, it releases a lot of those toxins out of the liver, which get recirculated back into the body.
Yeah. And I'll tell you too, to your point, like a good analogy is if you leave a car in your garage and never drive it, it's going to fall apart. It's not going to work properly.
Hmm.
And that's the same as, with diabetes. If you're giving yourself insulin, your pancreas is not going to produce insulin and it doesn't know how to work anymore. And that's where, when I went to Dr. Jafari years ago about that specifically, she said to me, we're going to rebuild every cell in your pancreas.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what you were saying is the cells regenerating, everything regenerating on its own. But you
Yes.
got to take the poison out. So I had to do a 6 months brutal diet, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
That's the problem nowadays. People want the quick fix. We have been programmed for the quick fix so they can make money. I always say to people, if you spent a lifetime poisoning your body, what makes you think you can fix it in one day?
Yeah.
Like, you have to invest the time to fix it, just like you invested the time to ruin it.
Yes.
Simple.
It really is that simple. And, um, but the power, let's face it, our education system is so corrupt and so bad that, you're starting out with that big of a deficit. I mean, I was talking with some people, and they were making mention of people my age and that sort of thing. Well, I remember how my grandmother used to treat this, any kind of ailment because they weren't diseases, they were ailments,
Yeah.
arthritis, maybe a cold, a flu. In fact, I didn't even have a flu, I don't think back then. Um, just congestion and aches and pains and all of that sort of stuff. Now those same life um, functions, if you will, those challenges that come up, um, they're now labeled as diseases because it's a symptom. They're labeling the symptom as a disease, and then they're
Yeah.
just going to treat that. And I haven't been had any medications in probably 40 years or more. I look at all the other people my age that are on 10, 20, 30 different drugs every single day. I see the TV where, here we have, XYZ disease, challenge, whatever, and we have a drug for it. And in fact, actually, the side effect of it is more of the same disease.
Right.
Um, it's
Well, that's
ridiculous.
another thing that bugs me. Okay. Like, people take these meds and they don't even pay attention because it creates way more side effects. You might as well just have whatever they're treating because you'd be
Yeah.
better off than everything else the medicine gives you.
Yeah.
Like, it just blows my mind. And people just are indoctrinated and buy
Yeah.
into it, you
Well,
know?
that's the interesting part of it too. Is even that whole scenario is made up because those are actually the effects of using that chemical compound. They're not side effects. It's actually we're trying to frame it in such a way that we found that it might have be able to make you feel a little better, um, on whatever. But the actual effects are all these things that you see and most people experience.
Yeah. And, I will say too, it's like, so basically people kind of get addicted to these drugs, and I don't mean the actual addiction. I mean
Right.
they take ownership, and they love the fact that, oh, my this, I have to take my that, my that. Like, why do you want to take all these meds, and why are you proud of it? I don't get it.
It really it baffles me. If you put I mean, there's new technologies out there, um, that, use, light and, infrared light and, things of this nature that actually help enhance the body. You know, One of the things, I'm involved in a company that does, stem cell research and, regenerative, that is non-transdermal. It doesn't put anything into your body, doesn't take anything out. It actually just bounces light back into your body. And, when you go back to before modern medicine, every treatment house, if you will, you want to call it that, there were, sanitariums and, some of them were called hospitals. They all had, you know, balconies and courtyards where you got sunlight,
Yeah.
light for healing. And, um, it
Just like,
wasn't
why are people taking vitamin D? Why don't you go out in the sun instead of sitting in the
exactly,
house?
exactly.
It's all so simple to me.
It really is. I mean, the body is really super complex is the way it actually puts all these things together. But the principle behind it and managing it is real simple. You know,
Yeah,
Clean water, clean air, clean food, clean living.
exactly. 100%. So how do they get a hold of you to find out more about clean living, clean food, and clean everything else?
Well, the best way to do that is walk through the front doors of my Paleo Pet in Pompano Beach. That's usually where you'll find me. Probably ranting and raving about something, some veterinarian or some doctor came up with, or some research study I've seen. But we have over almost 2,000 products in there, all designed for both pets and people. There's nothing in there that's exclusive for either one. That's how the quality that we're looking for. We want it to all be human-based products. Everything from 150 different herbs and botanicals to farm to table proteins, your best beef and chicken and everything else, which we do for both people, and we combine it into diets for your pet to make them healthy. Raw dairy products, same way, and then some of these new technologies that I just mentioned. We also do have things like, air purifiers and water, modification systems that will make you healthy, bring back nature. And, if I'm not there, you can always go on to my podcast, Pet Health Cafe, at pethealthcafe.com, and on these stations. Um, 18 seasons of giving out advice. According to ChatGPT, we're the oldest continuous animal health program,
Wow.
uh, out
I
there.
knew that, but that is still a wow.
Yeah, I know. It's, the fact that I came up with the concept in the first place, and you and I worked together putting it together.
Yeah.
Um, so we're out there. BioComplete, actually manufactures and processes all our foods, along with the local farmers that we buy from. So we have a complete, package that we have. We're in the process of putting in at My Paleo Pet and Education Center as well, which will show some of the growth of this program and of the store itself, going from the early days of being one of the first, if not the first, full line pet deli in the country. And, we're kind of proud of it. We're in our 20th year over there at My Paleo Pet, and, we intend to keep kicking butt and taking names, and we want those butts to be alive and healthy.
There it is. The pet health guru always helps people, helps their pets, and I'm thankful to have you on the adventures of Pipeman.
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman. on W4CY Radio.